looking kind of pretty, and it don't stop till we go pop.
Well done. All right, cool. We're good.
Reagan's just like, fuck my life.
No, we're sorted.
Dance. Let's all get down while we got the chance.
You're totally going to use that for the intro, Reagan. You've got to use these 5 lyrics for the intro.
Which song is it?
You got the feeling. I think it's been a couple of songs, isn't it?
If you're getting down, baby.
I want it now, baby.
Come get it on, baby.
I want it now, baby.
Did you guys have to? I hope you had to Google the lyrics for that.
Oh no
No way. 5? Come on. They're a British boy band.
Yeah, man. They're a national treasure.
If you say so. All right, let's start.
Sweet. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Overcast Gamer Show. You're joined by me. My name is Abe Foster. It's the 30th of July, 2017. I'm also joined by
Reagan Harbour.
Balthazar Valentine.
Yeah.
And we've got a pretty sweet show planned for you today. We've got some intro, sort of what's been going on in our lives, and just random miscellaneous crap as per usual. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Been playing. I'm going to talk about some sneaky sort of potentially No Man's Sky related stuff. Not really sure yet, but that should be interesting. And then we also have a discussion on trailers, so stay tuned for that. So, boys, how you been? What you been up to?
I've been well. I hope I can say the same for everyone else. My big news, and it's not huge news. I got myself a sweet new T-shirt today. This is the level that my life is running on at the moment. But there's this wee story because my girlfriend's sister went to Japan recently, which I'm super jealous about because it sounds like it was amazing.
Yeah.
And she sent me a message like a wee while after they got there, like a couple days in, and she was like, I'm at this shop and it's a 7-story electronics store. I don't know. I'm assuming that's something that people know about when they go to Japan. Do you want like something for your Switch? And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds great. Like just even just like a charger, like an extra charger so that I don't necessarily, like I can charge it kind of anywhere rather than just having the dock. And she came back with a 3-meter long Switch cable, which is incredible. Three goddamn meters. And also this sweet T-shirt, which is a Nintendo shirt, which is like it's white, and then the whole thing is kind of like a tessellated pattern with like different sort of chunks of Mario and Nintendo kind of characters all over it, and it's like all geometric. And then like on the left breast, shall you say, is like an embroidered Mario. It's fucking sweet.
Nice.
That sounds cool, man.
Yeah, man.
I really want to see that. We'll have to. You have to flick us through a picture, and we can put it in the show notes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we'll make sure that's on social media because it's pretty special stuff. And it also turns out that I am a large in Japanese sizing.
Oh yes, I remember this feeling in the States where I found out I was a boys large.
Awesome.
It surprises me that you're a large, Regan, because I'm a large, and I would say you're larger than me. So,
Yeah.
all of my clothes like fit snugly as like the larges I got fit like well kind of thing, not like too baggy or anything.
That's interesting, Balthazar. I mean, the large for you must be the height of the shirt as opposed to the width of the shirt.
Potentially.
I don't know though, because they're fairly tight around the chest as well, like width-wise.
Interesting. Well, this fits like perfect.
Yeah.
But it'll just
Maybe
be like
large is just magic over there. Like Japanese large is just this will magically fit you perfectly regardless if you're real size.
I wouldn't put it past them.
I wanted to say any Westerner will just fit a large, but then that is a lie. That is a goddamn lie.
It's a barefaced lie, Reagan.
Big time. But that's pretty much me. Other than that, I've been going to the gym. I've been playing more video games. I got a new job. I got to change my job title, which was also cool.
What? Talk about that, man. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, well, this is new. This is like 2 days old, hot off the press. Yeah, so I've been working in support, as you two will know, for what, 3 years now.
Yeah.
Which, and support jobs, man, they have a shelf life.
Absolutely. That's to put it lightly.
Yeah. And I've recently got a new job where essentially I'm moving into some more salesy stuff, doing outbound sales, and essentially it's like account management stuff. So yeah, pretty pumped about that. So all in all, life is looking up for me.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
It's nice not to have to deal with, like, this thing about support jobs. If anyone out there that's listening has worked in a support job, the hard part about it is that you're just dealing with problems all day.
Yes,
that's it.
I equated it to you're cleaning up after people. Essentially, is what you're doing. You're the cleaner of, whatever business you're working for, just not literally.
Yeah, totally.
Shit.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. What about you guys? What's been going on?
Balthazar.
Not a lot actually really too different has been going on in my life lately. I've had a couple of doctor's visits where I think this thing's wrong because things feel wrong, and then I'm just told the same thing every time. Getting pretty sick actually of paying $50 to be told that I'm perfect and there's nothing wrong with me. It's such an inconvenience. But the latest kind of thing in the long list is I've not slept for a while because I can feel my brain, and it's weird. Like, Abe, you
can feel your brain.
Your response was Jesus Christ. That. It's fairly apt. You can't really explain it. It's not something that you can kind of. I guess the easiest way to do it, because it's something that most people probably will have felt at some point in their life, is, when you feel your stomach. So your stomach doesn't hurt and you're not necessarily hungry, but you're just conscious of the fact that your stomach is there because you can feel it. It's doing something and you feel it doing something. And you're like, all right, I know you're there. I'm kind of getting annoyed at constantly being aware of the fact that you're there doing something.
That I have a stomach. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that, but I'm constantly aware of my brain. Like, I can feel my brain there.
Wow. So
it's really weird.
So you went into the doctor to talk about this, and he was like, so what can I help you with? And you were like, so I can feel my brain.
I can feel my brain.
I coupled it with a visit for something else, which is I've had I hate using the term back pain because everyone has back pain. Like, you talk to anyone, they're like, I have back pain. But I can't describe it as I had a pain in the lower right of my back for on and off for over a year. And every time I felt it was always in the exact same place. So I was like, maybe there's something there. And Hannah was saying, well, there could be some organs behind there. Like, this might be, kidney
pretty
problems
sure there's
something. Yeah. Because of my horrible diet and everything. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll go to the damn doctor and pay another $50 for nothing. And so I went for that primarily. And, I did the usual, got me to do some bending, sideways and forwards and everything for my back. And he's like, no, above average range of movement for someone of your age. And then did a urine sample. Everything's like, no, above average urine sample for someone of your age. That one wasn't above average.
Urine
sample. 7 out of 10 urine sample.
Volume. Great.
Everything, there was nothing wrong. It's just it'd probably be, if you live a fairly routine life, then it'll just be, a muscle spasm that is repeatedly occurring in the same place because you live, the same life, basically. So you sit in the same way, you sleep in the same way, you do the same thing. So you probably, irritate the same muscle constantly, kind of thing.
Right.
So that's that. And then we touched on the brain thing. He was just like, yeah, no, that's a bit above me. That's that's kind of get a scan and everything. Yeah, that's like get a scan sort of territory, like to see if there's anything different going on with the brainwaves or anything. Like if there's anything irregular happening there, if there's maybe pressure, because it's likely that you're not feeling the brain, you're feeling something alien in the brain. Like a pressure from something else.
Yeah.
So who knows.
Yeah, this is sounding like the start of a horror movie. Man.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever get that sense when you go to the doctor where they you go in with a problem and you're like, yeah, I'm feeling like this is the thing, I've got an issue here, and they tell you what they think it is, and then there's always that niggling thing in the back of your mind where you're like, are you sure? Are you sure that is that the problem? I don't know. I think I have a trust issue, but you sometimes, I guess doctors deal with people who hypochondriacs all the time or getting towards that, but yeah, just always is that really the problem, doctor? You know?
Yeah, I think that's why whenever I go, I preface everything. Like I told him with the back pain, I'm like, look, I don't want to describe it as back pain because I bet every second person you have coming in here says, Doc, I've got terrible back pain. So I don't want to tell you it's back pain, but it's in my lower back region kind of thing. Like it is a pain that on my body would be described as on my back kind of thing. But I don't believe it is my back itself that's in pain. I think it's something else. I always overly elaborate everything when I go to a doctor because I don't want to sound like a hypochondriac, I'm just but in the end it just ends in me rambling and them going, okay, so what's the actual problem? So what is it you actually have? And I'm like, back pain, I guess.
It sounds like they're starting to a terrible joke. Hey, doctor, I have back pain. And then the sort of retort from them is that'll be $55.
The punchline is you get to pay a lot of money.
Yeah, I have the same thing, Balthazar. I went to the doctors recently, which just it pissed me off so much because I'm a pretty healthy person and I haven't been to the doctors for about, 12 years or something. And I just walked in there. They pretty much told me, oh, yep, this is it. And the conversation lasted less than 5 minutes. And it was $50. I was like, that is outrageous.
It's ridiculous, right? Like last time I went as well, I'm like you, Abe. I barely go. And then I've just found myself, I've gone twice in the last 3 years. And the first time I went was again because we thought there was something serious because my eyes were constantly yellow, which is typically a liver problem. And that was when they were just like, oh, you have Gilbert syndrome. You're genetically immune to heart attacks and strokes. And I was like, okay. I guess that's pretty good. I basically paid $50 for immunity to 2 killers. So
saying is, I'm invincible.
Yeah. It's like now I'm becoming you now. I was just about to say it's like that episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns goes exactly in for the checkup and finds out he has everything, but it's in such perfect balance, nothing can get him.
He's like, so what you're saying is I'm invincible? He's like, no, even the slightest breeze could. He's like, invincible.
Brilliant.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, well, anything else going on there, Balthazar, apart from some sort of strange, possibly either in your mind or in your brain? I'm not sure which one, but
yeah, I don't know. No, other than that, it's been a pretty typical fortnight of playing games and
same old. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I've got a couple of things I can talk about. Moved into my new flat, which is really cool. That's all. So all the moving's finally done. Thank you.
Yeah. How's the North Shore?
It's good, man. I'm enjoying it. It's I don't know, just very peaceful. Everything's really clean. People seem pretty civilized here, which is always good.
Yeah. No murders in the alleyways near your house.
No shootings as of yet. 100 meters from my house, which is always cool. I do miss the West a wee bit. It has such character and personality, and it gelled with me being from having some Masterton roots, being a pretty filthy bogan at core. So I do miss the West, and the West has far less people. I'll tell you that much. Holy shit, North Shore is like brimming with people. It's a bit insane when you leave the safety of your own home. There's just cars everywhere. But it also has some really, really beautiful beaches and lovely little cafes and things around, which is awesome because my old place didn't have a cafe anywhere near walking distance. So it's really nice to be able to go down to this. I've sort of got a little, I don't know if you call it a mall. It's a series of shops in a paved sort of section. Every single shop is some form of Asian, or it has Asian characters on it, or kanji, or whatever you call it.
Oh yeah.
It just blows. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Auckland's half Asian now. It really is. I think like it seems. There's not a problem with that, but it's just really interesting to see that walking into a little New Zealand suburb and everything is marked with Asian characters. It's just kind of like, holy shit, this is
I remember the same thing happening when last time I went to Auckland, and I thought to myself, I should probably start learning one of these languages, or at least be able to recognize what language that is.
Yeah. If I need to go to my local pharmacy, then shit, man, I need to know Mandarin or Cantonese.
Yeah.
But no. Also, the pro of that is that there's tons of Asian restaurants and food around, which is just so delicious. I love it. There's Indonesian and Chinese are my two favorites. Chinese dumplings are my two favorites so far. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's brilliant. Drive to work is doubled, but that's all good because it's just a motorway, and I've got my car and I've got my music now, so that's not a big deal.
And it's just work. Doesn't matter if you're late.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Doesn't matter if you're late. I think there's a lot of variables there. It depends on a lot of things.
I like to live by that philosophy that your employer will always tell you anyway, which is doesn't matter if you're 2 minutes or 2 hours, late is late. So if I'm going to be late, I might as well be late, you know?
Yeah.
Apparently they don't care either way. So.
I like to think that the companies that we now work for don't, they're not that petty. And that if you're 5 minutes late, they're not going to be like, right, you're staying 5 minutes after work to make that up, sort of thing. But I don't know. The only other thing I want to talk about, and we might even turn this into a new section. What do you guys reckon? The film reviews.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it. This will be our trial run. Let's do it. So,
all right.
The premise of this.
Do we have a theme song?
I'll whip one up. And it will. Ba-da-ba-bo. Ba-ba-ba. I'll fix it up. I'll fix that up in post. Don't worry about that.
Apologies for that terrible theme song there. Reagan, do you want to explain what we're doing?
All right, so the premise is we've got 1 minute, just 1 minute, to essentially do a mini review on a movie that you've seen recently. And Abe, you being the movie aficionado that you are, you are going to kick us off.
I am indeed.
Now,
are we giving you a word that has to be in the review as well?
Yeah, you can definitely.
Okay. Yep.
Chuck me through a word.
Balthazar.
Cantankerous.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
Man, lovely. Okay.
Cool. And so, just to save you a little bit of time, the movie's Baby Driver, I believe. That's
it
what
is.
Yep. And you've got 1 minute, and you need to include the word cantankerous. Cue timer music now.
All right. Well, Baby Driver is a film by Edgar Wright, formerly of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, The World's End fame. He's my favourite director of all time. He has very kinetic editing and action sequences, as well as very clever writing. Baby Driver is a heist film. It sort of takes place around a guy who has tinnitus, and he's constantly got headphones in, and he's the getaway driver for a series of people, including Jamie Foxx and John Hamm, various other people. Baby Driver is fantastic. It's a really, really good film. It's probably one of my favorites I've seen this year. It's an action movie, but it's a musical at the same time. So it's soundtracked by constant music. I didn't recognize 80% of the music, which I loved even more. It actually gets quite intense in the violence. So that was unexpected, but it wasn't bad. John Hamm is a cantankerous old bastard in it. He really gets in your face towards the latter half of the film. And we also have Kevin Spacey as the sort of heist leader. So he's fantastic as per usual. And sweet.
Nice one. That was well.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Thank you very much. Do you guys feel like you know more about the film or anything about the film?
Yeah,
I do. I knew nothing, so now I feel like I actually know what that film is.
Oh, awesome! Really cool.
Did it make you want to see it?
I don't see films at the movies, so eventually, it makes me want to see it eventually, but not go out and see it.
I'll say that. That's a success in my eyes.
And you worked in Cantankerous in the perfect spot too, because in that film John Hamm was a cantankerous bastard. So
he is a cantankerous.
To be fair, that was I almost gave that as a given to you because every movie is going to have a cantankerous character in it.
Yeah.
It was more just a trial because you're our content writer, so I just wanted to keep you on your toes and make sure you knew how to use big words.
Okay, no, it's good. I'm glad. Hopefully, I passed the test with that one.
I'd imagine when it comes my turn to do one of those, you'll give me a word, and I just won't know what it is, and I'll just put it in there somewhere just for the hell of it.
I've got one that I'm going to give one of you guys already. It's one of my favourite words, and not many people know what it means. So,
Quidgy-bo?
No, it's not that. That sounds like something from The Gods Must Be Crazy. But yeah, that's the movie review. What we've got to come up with some sort of sweet name for this, eh? It's a film fiasco flying.
We'll work on it.
You just take one of those Kiwi things instead of food in a minute. It's just film in a minute.
Oh, I like it.
We can just take the food in a minute logo and replace food with film.
We don't even need a jingle anymore. We'll just take the food in a minute jingle, and we're good. Again, I'll fix that in post.
That's sweet. All right, we better move on. Playing Balthazar. What have you been playing, man?
I've been playing a lot. quite a bit.
Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So, Splatoon 2 came out. Splatoon. We played some of that in the stream this week.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
It was good fun.
I got some few hours into that. It's just a fun little, kind of you play. It's not one of those games that you play as your main game. It's just a game that you kind of perpetually have just for half an hour every few days or what have you.
Finish my lunch early, need something to do for 20 minutes, I'll play some Splatoon.
Yeah, exactly. And then this fortnight really has been a bit of a fortnight of playing a little bit of a lot of games. So it's like a bit of Splatoon on and off. Guild Wars 2 had its final story update before the next expansion at the end of the year. So I played through the story stuff in that. That's a game that every time I go back to it, I think, I enjoy playing this game. And then I finished the small story update and I'm like, but there's nought to do in it. And then I go away for another sort of 3 months or so, which is disappointing to see, a game that is so fun to play, just have nothing in it to actually play. It's a bit sad. I played a wee bit of the Destiny 2 beta.
Ah, yes.
So that had the open beta on PS4 week ago, maybe.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Days. I wanted to play the PC one, but that one is not until the final week of August now that's on. So I'll play more when that's on. I didn't want to play too much of the PlayStation one because that's not how I will be playing the game if I get it. I'll be playing it on PC. But it's quite different for a game that at its core is essentially the same. They've actually changed a lot. They've made sort of your superpower, I forget what it's called, probably just superpower actually, take a lot longer to charge. So you don't kind of whiff it anymore. You make sure that when you use it, you're using it, effectively kind of thing. So it's going to be a while before you get it again, which is quite nice because previously it would be up every 60 seconds and would last quite a while when you used it. So you could just kind of pop it constantly and it didn't really matter if you did it well or not. Now it's kind of like, all right, this thing takes me 4 to 5 minutes to get. So I should probably make sure when I use it well, which is nice. PvP, they've tweaked. It feels like the whole game actually, to some extent, has been skewed towards PvP rather than PvE this time, which would also explain why your super takes so much longer to get because, you don't want in PvP someone to be able to one-shot someone every 30 seconds. But they've also, it means everything feels a bit weaker than it did in Destiny 1, because in PvP they're wanting everything to be kind of balanced, and it feels like they'll probably have to do what MMOs do somewhere down the line and split the balancing between PvP and PvE so that nothing feels underwhelming in either game mode. But yeah, I mean, it's just a beta, so balancing isn't exactly mastered yet, but it feels it surprised me how different it felt for a game that is essentially at its core exactly the same, just with more story in it this time, because that's what people wanted.
Would you say, have you enjoyed the feel of it being different more than the feel of Destiny 1? Does it feel better to you?
I think I have. It feels so. The big difference for me is when you play the story mission and when you play the PvE, like cooperative strike, which is basically a 4-man party dungeon kind of thing, with a story tied to it. It feels like you're playing levels and missions cooperatively in Halo now. It feels like the story is the focus, and you've got these set piece moments that you're pushing through for that, and the focus isn't on your powers and you're swapping between all these different weapons. Like, you rely quite heavily now on your primary machine gun kind of thing, or rifle or what have you, as opposed to all these fancy sub weapons and everything. Like, it feels more like a shooter that you're used to playing rather than something. It feels like the lessons that Bungie learned from 1, whether they're the correct lessons or not, was that they strayed too far from the formula that people are used to. And so they've dialed it back to being more what people are used to, while still actually keeping everything that was different. So they've still got the supers, they've still got loot dropping, they've still got the ability to, customize your weapons and stuff by putting mods in them and change your playstyle and level up and create different builds based on how you level up. But they've changed the fundamental gameplay slightly so that it is more based around your skill at shooting rather than your theoretical skill at crafting the perfect build for the situation kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because there's a reason that, the genre of shooters have gone in the direction that they have. because generally that's kind of the most fun. And I think if you're anytime you're creating a game where it kind of relies on what's already there in some respects, you've really got to strike that balance. I think stepping too far away from the genre is just, you're asking too much of people. And I think you're already doing enough when you're creating an MMO, and you've got a really sort of story-driven shooter. I think that's enough. And all those other things are enough, without having to step too far away from all the kind of the classic stuff that people love about shooters.
Yeah. I think the biggest incentive that you gave me there, Balthazar, was saying it feels like Halo. If they can make it feel, would you say it feels like Halo's 1 to 3 as opposed to 4 or Reach?
I never played anything beyond 3, so
okay.
Yes, like for me, saying it feels like Halo means it feels like 1 to 3.
Awesome.
It feels, I guess, because of the differences in there, i.e. the leveling up and the abilities and things like that, it feels like the next evolution of Halo, which is, I feel comfortable making that as a statement, because that doesn't say it's going to be as good as Halo 1 to 3 was, because whenever games take an evolutionary step, it can be a backstep.
Yeah.
So it feels like, based on what I played of Halo 1 to 3, this is what sort of Halo 8 would feel like if they just kept making minor changes each release. By the time it, got way far down in the series, this is what it would feel like, kind of thing.
Okay.
And I think, definitely, since I'm assuming the PC beta will be the same levels, I won't have played enough, of the story prior to its release to be able to tell you if it's worth getting, because I know that the stuff about Halo you liked, as well as just how tight the actual gameplay was the fact that there was a narrative throughout and everything.
Yeah.
And given what a disaster Destiny 1's complete lack of narrative presentation was, having to go out of the game into a website and everything to read the story, I can't tell you if that's going to be there, but certainly this mission, I feel semi-confident saying, in my experience playing first-person shooters, the mission that they give you in the Destiny 2 beta is the best first-person shooter mission I've ever played.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's a
I have not
pull.
played a massive amount of first-person shooters, so that's kind of thing there. Like, I've played the Halos, so that is, it is a fairly big claim to say I preferred it to any of the single missions in Halo. That doesn't mean the whole game's going to be better or anything. Just I preferred that one mission as an isolated mission to any single isolated mission from another FPS I've played. That could be the greatest mission they have in the game, in which case, the rest of it could still fall short. But definitely they picked a really good mission to put in that beta, because if that is what the whole game is going to be like, it's going to be a pretty up there shooter, I reckon.
Cool.
Awesome. And better than Portal 2?
Oh, see, they're too different, right? Like, I don't consider Portal 2 a shooter, because it's a puzzle platformer, like, with shooting. Yes, the controls are a shooter effectively. You're not shooting things.
Right.
So I wouldn't dare to ever compare the two.
Okay,
really.
that's fair enough. Yeah, I understand that. I just want to make pointless comparisons.
Yeah,
just because I can. Just because I can. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's cool, man. Anything else you've been playing there?
I've been jumping into the latest season of Diablo 3, because that's on my constant rotation when a season comes out. Just working my way through the Necromancer. He's pretty fun. And then I gave up on Final Fantasy 12.
Gave up on
Final
it?
Fantasy 12.
Gave up on it.
Like, actually I genuinely don't think I'll be going back to it again. I spent probably... So Reagan and I chatted briefly on the stream about how I reached a point that I was unhappy with, where I killed a boss, and then everything around me now seems to be vastly higher level than me. And so I can't do much to it. Like, each small encounter I have against an enemy feels like a boss fight, but the enemies don't come one at a time. They're in packs of 3, so they just annihilate me, kind of thing.
What area?
So
remind me again what area you're in?
I fucking don't know. Some desert place just past the jungle or something. And yeah, I did some grinding. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to play this again unless I get past this point now. So I did some grinding. I got like 5 levels up on each character. I started progressing through that area, and I was like, okay, I guess I was just ridiculously underleveled, which still says to me that previous boss that was keeping me out of this area was fucking underpowered, because I smashed it at my level. But I started making some progress, and then I died. and it hadn't saved at all, and I'd lost 5 levels worth of grinding, which was probably over an hour.
Yeah.
And so that's it. I'm done. I'm not playing it again. I'm done. Like, I'm actually done. The game should not have allowed me to get to a point where I smash everything, absolutely obliterate it, so it's a piece of piss, and then suddenly be like, oh, but actually now you're like 20 levels too low for this area. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. And then force me to
some
grind.
bad
I'm
game
done.
design.
I'm out. Yeah, and maybe like I have to. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm being too apologetic, Abe, because when you say that, I think, well, I must have done something wrong for it to do that. But actually, no, I'm with you, Abe. I shouldn't be so apologetic for the game. For it to let me get to that point, even if I took a path that wasn't intended, it should not allow me to get to that point and not have any idea where I went wrong or where I'm supposed to go to make up for that. Like, that is just poor game design. It should not ever let you reach a point where pretty much I'm in a little safe area with a save point in it, and no matter which exit I take out of that area, the first enemy I come across will wipe my entire party.
I'm kind of intrigued by this because I've played, I don't know, 20 hours or so, 20 plus, and I've not come across this. So I'm quite keen to know
That's what I'm
exactly
saying.
where
I
you are.
probably went wrong somewhere, but I'm going to stop apologizing for it because it's still bad game design that it let me do that.
Yeah,
and I'm done.
Fair.
Like, even if I did do something wrong somewhere, I think the only way I'm going to get past this point now is to start the game again, which I may do in the future. You know, a year or two, I may be like, I'm going to give 12 another crack and just start a new game. And take my time more with it and everything like that. And maybe then it won't happen again. But my current save file and my current attempt at Final Fantasy 12, I'm done. It's just fully pushed me into Disgaea 5 full time as my like grindy RPG that I'm playing. I'm done with 12 now. So sorry, Square. You know, I know that 12 was always such a controversial title, and some people liked it and some people hated it because of the changes they made. My decision is not even vaguely based on the changes they've made. I thought the Gambit system was pretty cool. My lack of enjoyment of this game has just come down to the fact that you forced me to purely grind to progress, and I've never hit that point in a Final Fantasy game before. I've never been forced to grind to progress. Yeah,
they fucked it by the sounds of things, or they at least didn't put enough safeguards in that place to kind of tell you that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, if I could, because I could use a teleport stone, right, to go back to some other town and then make my way there again and get some more levels or figure out if there's another area I'm meant to go to first. But I shouldn't have to. Like, what if I hit that point and didn't have a teleport stone?
Yeah, this sounds like the No Man's Sky thing where people couldn't make
the warp drive or whatever.
Warp drives or whatever. Yeah, and they got stuck on the.
I think No Man's Sky was just a genuine bug, rather than. Yeah,
well, Reagan, you've also been playing Final Fantasy 12. Any thoughts on that yourself, man?
Yeah, so I have as well. I've not encountered, as I say, this issue at all, but then I've been sort of taking my time as I've gone through it, so I haven't really been rushing through to the next place. I've been taking my time to do the hunts and, you know, do a bit of grinding, and because what I quite like about this game is that, and especially with the gambits, is you can sort of just take Van or whatever, your main character, and actually just set them up to steal instantly from, you know, someone. You know, when you run up to a monster, you can just set them to steal from them and then switch to attacking. So it's quite fun, I find, to just go out and farm. So just like, so there's kind of multiple reward systems that you get from going out and grinding. You know, you get license points to get more skills, you get experience to go up levels, and if you've set things up nicely, you can also get items that you can sell and, you know, buy new weapons and all that kind of stuff. So I've found it quite satisfying. So not rushing through it, and maybe that's the reason why I didn't come across any sort of crazy difficulty spikes or anything like that. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying it. Been probably getting maybe an hour or so on it each day, which is, you know, which is cool.
I think it is the grinding. Like, I think it's that I've hit a point where I need to grind now because I haven't done any just casual leveling at all up to this point. Like yourself, you know, it sounds like you do go out a bit and just, you know, just do some leveling. And Mike was constantly sending me screenshots, and I'd see I'd be like, oh, I'm in that same area as you, but you're like 30 levels higher. And he'd be like, oh yeah, I found this room where infinite skeletons spawn. So I just kind of hit times 4 speed and sat there and got like 30 levels on every character.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, no, I haven't done any of that because that's not how I choose to play this game, which is funny coming from me because I'm the ultimate game playing grinder kind of thing, but I don't grind for the sake of grind. I grind for it with a specific end in mind kind of thing. And I don't see an end. Like progression should never be the end. Progression should be a given part of playing the game.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, totally. But I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on that side of things. But I'm also not quite convinced on the way that they've done the job system in this one. In the original, there was just one massive fucking license board, and all the characters were spread across the single license board. And so,
like the sort of sphere boards in 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's my memory of it anyway. I don't remember you having to actually specifically choose jobs. But so in this one, what they've done is they've broken the license boards up into, smaller boards where you choose your actual job, and then it gives you the set of skills based on that. You can have 2 jobs and yada yada yada. So, and I think I kind of like the openness of the original system. I can see that there's sort of kind of benefits to, and that it kind of brings things down and makes it a little bit more simplified for people. But at the same time, I quite liked that sort of the extra level of planning and dedication that you needed on something that was completely open. So yeah, those are my only thoughts. The rest of the game is exactly like the original, so it is what it is.
Nice, Reagan.
Yeah,
nice.
but
what else have you been jamming there, man?
I last night bought Playerunknown's Battlegrounds, $30 or $40. Why not? Played one game. Died at number 16th or something.
That's pretty good. Shit, your first game out of 100.
Yeah, but I should say that it was the second person that I came across killed me, so not a huge deal.
Okay.
I basically just ran across a map for 20 minutes and then got killed. I think I was just fortunate, and then I didn't come across anyone. Yeah.
Did you have fun? Is the big question.
So I only played one round. I should say that.
Yeah.
It was quite late last night. And I did have fun, but yeah, because of the kind of the desolateness of that particular playthrough, I was kind of like, is this it? It took me, I basically just ran around through houses and across hills until I found someone and then got killed. And so I was like, interesting. But
did you sort of have, was there a tension the whole time you were doing that though?
Yeah, there was a tension for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come across someone soon. And that was the scary part of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then, so I managed to find a car, which was cool. And I drove this car, which felt a little bit clunky. The whole game, I mean, it's early access.
Early access.
So it doesn't feel super polished or anything like that, but that mechanic is quite cool. And that, yeah, absolutely. You'd run into a little town area, you would run into a building, and you have no idea if there's someone hiding in there. And you think that, you look around, you go, well, shit, it looks pretty quiet. I can't see anyone about, but I don't know. And, there's that tension the whole time. So that side of it is really cool. Keen to give it another couple goes and maybe play with some mates as well, just to see what that's like in a team. But I can definitely see that it has huge potential, and there's certainly that tension there. And it would be the kind of thing where you would, I guess, as a player, you would get to the point where you can recognize the signs of someone being about, like, there's a car there with its lights on, or that door's open and it probably shouldn't be, or just things like that, which I think would be quite cool. But early days, but I think it looks good. Yeah, that's.
Did you ever play DayZ, Reagan?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Okay, yeah. So this is sounding a little bit like DayZ, which I still think is a magical game. DayZ, it's a feeling I've never got from another game, in that I was so overwhelmed with intensity in that game that I struggled to go anywhere, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because it was just, there's people everywhere, and the whole cool thing about that game is the people are the real, the people are the real monsters. Sort of thing. But yeah, you're just constantly watching your back, and you don't really want to move too much, and you're crawling through the grass, and you never know what's going to happen. And I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah.
It just really gave that survival feel.
It's always funny in Battlegrounds when you just see people crawling through the grass, because it's like you kind of see the rustling, and if you come at them from the right angle where they don't see you coming, you just stand above someone watching them go like snaking through the grass. It's great. But no, Regan, yeah, we should play around together sometime. Like, it's definitely with the whole, you kind of have to decide when you go into it if you want to fight or not, kind of thing, because there are key areas in the map which always are hot zones for battles right off the bat.
Yep.
So if you want to shoot and fight and kind of feel like even if you die quickly, like you were a part of something in the game before you went out, then there's a couple of zones you want to drop into. And if you drop anywhere else, because everyone who wants a fight is going into those zones, you will kind of just have the luxury of scouting the entire map before the top sort of 20 people duke it out in a last stand kind of thing.
Yep.
So
Which
it sounds like your
yeah.
first round, you just kind of dropped where you thought looked good, and it wasn't a battle zone, so you just kind of made your way around from there.
Essentially, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it looks really good. $40 for a game like that is really, it was great too, and it's taking the world by storm, shall we say?
Yeah.
So
the zeitgeist of gaming is currently focused on PUBG.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of it. What about you, Abe?
Just a couple of things from me, and one isn't even playing a game; it was watching someone play a game, which I almost enjoy as much sometimes, depending on the game. The first game I was playing is back to Super Meat Boy. Never finished that game. It's ludicrously difficult. It's the one hit and you're dead kind of thing. Just been playing Super Meat Boy as a way to blow off a wee bit of steam in between moving and getting everything organized and that. And I picked that up on PlayStation Plus, I think, a while back. So it's always good I've got my current subscription going, so I can play all those games that I've bought. Yeah, Super Meat Boy. What a wonderful game. Just a testament to good game design. That thing. You die and you die and you die, but you never want to stop playing. You just there's always that little that hanging carrot of, I can get past that saw. I can get past that pool of acid or whatever. I need to hone my skills. I fucked up. It was all on me. You never feel cheated by that game, which I think is just absolutely wonderful. And it's just a simple little beautiful platformer with a killer soundtrack, I must add.
I think that's the beauty of the game, is that the core mechanic of it is so simple, in that it's fast and it's frantic and it's one hit kills, and that's it. And they don't deviate from that. Just make it through the level. And the simplicity is what makes it great.
It's incredibly rewarding game to play if you can get good at it, or if you can get better at it. If you can't, don't play that game, because it'll destroy you. It'll destroy your soul if you can't learn from it and learn from your mistakes, sort of thing. I know a few people I recommended that game to them, and they, our friendship faltered a little bit there. But yeah, been jamming that every now and then. Now, the other thing I've been watching, not playing, Arkham Knight, which is the third of the Rocksteady Batman games. We had Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then we had Warner Bros. Montreal do Arkham Origins and Arkham Knight, which is the third Rocksteady one. As I've previously mentioned on this podcast, that game I think is a masterpiece. It's so close to being a 10 out of 10. It's ludicrous. It's like a 9.9 in my opinion.
This is the one with the tanks, right? With the tanks.
Yeah. So the tanks 0.1, bring that 0.1 down. But the tanks even aren't enough to diminish how bloody good that game is. Mostly the story. But I get a lot of joy out of watching someone who is fully involved in an experience, willing to dedicate themselves to an experience, go through a masterpiece like The Last of Us or like Arkham Knight. And man, is that game bleak. I forgot how goddamn bleak Arkham Knight is.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that happens in that you're just like, ooh, the balls on Rocksteady, eh? Far out. But yeah, I watched someone pretty much complete it. I didn't watch the entire playthrough, but I watched a good chunk of the playthrough. And just watching someone's revelations as certain things are revealed. And, I don't know if we can do spoilers for that game. It's been out for a while, but essentially the Joker's in it. I think everyone knows that by now. But yeah, when the Joker shows up is one of the best moments of that game when he first shows up. It's like, oh shit, this is how they work the Joker into the game. But yeah, I love it. And I mean, a few years back, I watched someone play through The Last of Us, the entirety of The Last of Us, and that was awesome too, because you just see these range of emotions that people go through that you remember, you yourself going through, and it's a vicarious life at the moment. It's really good.
It must be pretty cool to, I think, if I was a developer and I'd made a game like that on that sort of level, and getting to see people watching Let's Plays and all that kind of stuff, and seeing the joy or the whatever emotion you had designed and planned for those players to experience kind of really bubble up and see them experiencing that. That must be a really cool feeling.
I think that'd be a wonderful new YouTube series that I would subscribe to, is devs watch other people play their games. If that doesn't already exist, I'm not sure if it does, but that would be really cool. Like, say Druckmann in Australia, and you get to watch someone play through Uncharted 4 or Last of Us or something like that.
Yeah, totally. And just do like a little wee commentary, and
they
could talk about, oh, that's perfect. This is the way that we want the player to feel, or that's an interesting choice they made there. That's not at all what we had planned, or whatever. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, definitely, and amateur players too, not your big PewDiePies and your what have you. Just dudes, just people, guys and girls sort of thing. It doesn't matter, but people who don't have a massive following, I think that would give it that would humanize it a lot as well.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, I think we should probably reach out and get that cracking.
Go for it.
But yeah, we'll move on to some news now. Reagan, you wanted to talk about something that hasn't been in the headlines for quite some time, and with good reason, and that is Mr. Sean Murray's No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I'm treating it like Sid Meier's Civilization, so it's going to be Sean Murray's No Man's Sky from now on.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, they might not put it in the title like they have with Civ, but this is all good. So this is interesting in a few ways, because one, it hasn't really made gaming headlines very much, which sort of suggests that perhaps it's not doing its job, but... So essentially what's happening at the moment, and this is still going on, and it will probably still be going on at the time that this podcast is released, there is an augmented reality game going on called Waking Titan. And as it's unraveled and people have figured out, so if you don't know, an augmented reality game is one of those ones where a company or a group of people drop hints online, or they might be physical hints, and essentially a community of people come together to figure out these hints. It's kind of like an online / real world treasure hunt.
Yeah, orienteering or treasure hunt.
Yeah, essentially. And so there is one of these happening at the moment called Waking Titan, and as it's gone on, it's kind of been revealed that it is to do with No Man's Sky. And the theory is at the moment that it is leading towards a big announcement, or maybe a big update or patch or something for No Man's Sky at the 1 year anniversary of the game. And we're not sure. It's been radio silence from Hello Games, which is, kind of their thing these days.
Yeah.
And so, but it's been quite cool to watch it, and essentially to see this community kind of piece this thing together. I will say that the clues and the leaps and the investigation that's had to happen for them to sort of figure out everything so far has been impressive, because the clues and things are crazy. You can jump online, Google it, you can find YouTube videos explaining the whole progress up until now. So awesome community around it, and they're loving it. But my question for you both here, as far as this goes, is one, do you care? Does it intrigue you at all that No Man's Sky might be getting a massive update that could just potentially be a big thing and make the game playable, those kind of things? And two, do you think No Man's Sky can be saved?
So for question one, do I care? I care about the ARG. I don't care about its ties to No Man's Sky. I think ARGs are just cool. Like, there was that one for, it's escaping me now, but that game that Abe played a wee while back, that indie one. No, that indie game you played, people on an island.
The Witness?
No, it'll come to me later probably. And at the end of that, there was a massive ARG which took people like months to solve, and it wasn't even about kind of anything coming after the game or an update to the game. It was literally just something for people who loved the game to keep doing afterwards, which I thought was really freaking cool. It just started with, I think, like a link or a message or something at the end of the main game, and people eventually worked out it was maybe for a radio station or something that was playing something on repeat that took them somewhere else.
Are you talking about Oxenfree?
That's the one, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And yeah, I think ARGs are awesome. I think they are really cool things to keep a community, basically they form new communities. While Waking Titan might be something to do with No Man's Sky, guarantee you most of the people doing it don't give a shit about No Man's Sky. Like, they're doing it because they're now a part of the Waking Titan community and getting that thing solved, and they want to be a part of that. And when it's all done, they probably will never go touch No Man's Sky afterwards. I think ARGs are really cool, but I don't think this one's links to No Man's Sky are what make it interesting or what anyone cares about. I'm sure there are people who still like No Man's Sky who do care about the links because they think, hey, cool, it's getting people hyped about this game that I still personally enjoy. But I don't think that is what it's doing. I don't think it's getting anyone hyped about No Man's Sky who didn't already still love No Man's Sky. It's just its own separate thing, I think, for people who don't care about the game.
And that's probably why it hasn't really been featured in the news and things, because it's an ARG. There's only so many people that are into those games, and there's only so many people that are into No Man's Sky, and we're probably not seeing any, like, a huge amount of overlap. So
the Venn diagram is very there's not much going on there.
Yeah.
What about question 2? Can No Man's Sky be saved?
I would say yes, but it's a very tentative yes. So my answer pretty much entirely comes from the, documented history of games that have been successfully reinvented after a shit show of a launch. So Final Fantasy 14 being my immediate one that comes to mind, of being a game that everyone hated and now is, easily among the titans of the current MMO Planescape kind of thing. So absolutely it can. But the big caveat for that is all the ones that have successfully done it in the past already had a huge name tied to them. People were willing to give Square another chance because of everything they'd done in the past. Who the fuck are Hello Games, and why should anyone care about giving them another chance? Hello Games, all they've done is No Man's Sky, which was an abortion at launch. So it very much at this stage comes down to who's willing to give Hello Games another chance. I'm sure they are able to reinvent it, reimagine it, relaunch it, and make it what people, maybe still not what they initially promised, because that is almost impossible to deliver, but what people wanted from it at launch, like those realistically tempered expectations, they could meet those. And I would be surprised if they weren't trying to meet those. But I think a game can't be salvaged on the work, effort, and intention of the developer alone. The community has to be willing to allow it to, be good. Because if they're not prepared or willing to give it a second chance, it doesn't matter if it is a success. So I think absolutely, yes, it can be fixed. It can be made great, but I don't know if anyone will bother to care that it is.
I think there's been a lot of toes trod on and a lot of trust kind of lost there. And I think you're right. There's probably, that's happened a bit too much, I think, for them to totally pull it back. It might be a good game, but whether or not they can win people's hearts over again would be another question. What are your thoughts, Abe?
I've just probably got more brief thoughts on this. I think what was the first question? Is it, do you care, essentially, right?
Do you care? And
totally do care. I think it's a really interesting. It's not a great thing for Hello Games to be in the shit show that they've been in, but it's incredibly interesting for people on the outside to watch this happen. It's a sort of demonstration of marketing gone awry, of indie devs getting in over their head, sort of thing. It's a demonstration. It's essentially it's a word of warning for developers. This sort of debacle fiasco. I definitely care. I've always thought that No Man's Sky, I was massively excited about this game before it came out, and I've always thought that there's definitely something that can be salvaged, or if they add enough new content and things like that, vary it, make it so every single dwelling you go into it isn't the same bloody alien with this weird iPad looking thing who just essentially does nothing, and then you just leave, and it just seems like he's a furnishing of this copy and pasted house that's just on every planet, everywhere you go. Can it be saved? That's a tricky one. A lot of goodwill has definitely been eradicated. I think it's a good underdog story, and for that reason, I think it can be saved. It's not going to be a revelation that it could have been, the revelation that it could have been originally, but I think an underground community could definitely jump on this and at least make it a moderate success.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on this.
Yep.
Regan, I think this is going to be something that you're following quite closely.
Yeah, relatively closely. My sort of parting thoughts on this would be, if anyone's kind of interested to get a really sort of intelligent rundown on sort of the year that has been No Man's Sky so far, check out a YouTube channel called Writing on Games. Recently, they've released a video called A Critical Re-Examination of No Man's Sky, and that's kind of what's gotten me thinking about it recently. So definitely check that out if you're interested, and it's actually a fantastic channel in general. So
Yes.
there's a wee plug for you.
Yeah, old Hamish Black is a very intelligent and good content producer. Definitely check him out.
But no, that's kind of my thoughts on that at the moment. So we shall see, and I'll keep everyone posted as things unravel there.
Pokemon
I'm
Go.
on this AIG website now. Like, this is just semi-interesting follow-on from it. So there's this wiki for basically just people who investigate all the ARGs that come around.
Yeah.
There are several currently running for multiple different games. There's one called Layton World, which I assume is a Professor Layton ARG going on at the moment. There's an Odd World ARG going on at the moment.
Wow.
But the most interesting one, if you scroll down a bit, is an ARG called Definitely Not Rick and Morty, which was set up by Definitely Not Dan Harmon. So that's a pretty good one. Yeah, this one's a long one, scrolling down a lot, that's not been solved yet. So there's
cool.
a lot of interesting ARGs going on. So if you head to wiki.gamedetectives.net, go get involved in some ARGs if they're your jam.
Yeah.
That Professor Layton one, man, those puzzles are hard enough in the actual game.
Yeah.
Let alone in real life. Bloody hell.
Yeah, it's there are 50 Professor Layton-esque puzzles scattered across the world, and people need to find them and solve them, and that will lead them to other things and give them real-world keys, which eventually you need all of the keys to simultaneously unlock a bunch of locks to get into a thing. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the really cool thing about these is the way that it brings together a community. Like, people need to actually physically go places, and for example with that, with the locks, they're going to have to be like, okay, cool, someone needs to gather all these locks together, where are we going to send these? And it's just people coming together in a really sweet way. I think it's great.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, people coming together and actually going outside and getting involved. Pokemon Go is back in the news recently. Balthazar, I think you might have headed this one up.
I did not.
No, this was
Reagan,
me. This was me as well. I did a wee bit of. I read some news, gentlemen.
You're the news. You're our. Who's the newscaster nowadays? I was going to say John Campbell, but that's completely gone out.
Kent Brockman.
Kent Brock. Yeah, we'll go with Kent Brockman.
I'm the Kent Brockman of OCG. So this one is super quick. Basically, I thought it was just kind of interesting. So Niantic, the developer of Pokemon Go.
Yep.
They have held this Pokemon Go festival, and part of it was that they promised that when people got there to this festival, that they'd all be able to fucking walk about with their cell phones and their heads down and capture rare Pokemon that they wouldn't be able to get anywhere at the world. It's, I don't know, a Zapdos or a Doug Trio with blonde hair or whatever. And it's quite interesting because a bunch of people paid to go to wherever it was. I think it might have been LA or something like that. And they got there and the game wouldn't work. People couldn't log on. They couldn't play the game at all, let alone get these Pokemon. And so a bunch of people, I think around sort of 12 to 15 people, are actually suing Niantic for the fact that they paid airfares and all that sort of stuff to go to this, and they couldn't play. Niantic refunded. They did full ticket refunds to a lot of people who, were obviously disappointed. But these people are suing Niantic. I just thought it was kind of interesting that I suppose Niantic did make the promise that, people were going to turn up and be able to capture these Pokemons. But is it a big enough deal that you would hold a lawsuit? It's
my Kiwiness tells me that no one should ever sue anyone ever, because we don't do that here. We just get on with it or talk to the person about it. Don't need to go to court. But at the same time, I don't know. It's pretty shit. If you book airfares and you're on the way to a festival, let's equate this to a music festival. Say, there's been one recently in the news called the Fyre Festival, which was supposed to be this luxury festival that was being held by Ja Rule or something like that, and all these people
right.
went to this Caribbean island, and it was just an absolute shit show. There was just no accommodation. There was gravel pits everywhere instead of like accommodation. Everyone was getting these horrible burgers. Half the bands didn't even turn up. It was, and they started getting getting sued, sort of thing. So imagine going to a music festival and turning up, and essentially it's not what you were promised. Would you want your money back? Hell yeah. Would you want to take things further, depending on if you paid airfares and all that sort of shit? Yeah, potentially.
So, and I guess we need to know more about the story, really, because it's the difference between your example there, Abe, of Fyre Festival or whatever. Is it that, you show up to the festival, the bands aren't there, there's no accommodation, everything, in which case the target is, the event organizers for not delivering what they promised? Or do you go to, for another example, Queens of the Stone Age in Auckland, and you go there, the band is there, you can see they're playing the music, but when everyone shows up, the local council makes you put on earmuffs so you can't hear anything, in which case it's not the event organizers or the festival or anything. The local council did that. Now, that sounds like a really weird comparison to make, but it's my understanding that there was a bug in this Pokemon Go festival that for about half an hour prevented people from logging in, but they fixed it within half an hour. And after that, the issue was everyone trying to log in simultaneously caused such network congestion that the US network providers, like the telecommunications providers, couldn't keep up with the demand and weren't allowed. In that case, that's not the event or Niantic or anything. You can't sue them if your phone provider wasn't giving you the bandwidth that they promised they would in your contract you hold with them and prevented you getting on there. Because I've done a little bit of reading on it, and it sounds like there were two issues, and currently there's no answer because Niantic are saying, hey, we fixed our thing, as evidenced by many people on the floor who were able to log in and play it, who were with lesser used, network providers and everything. They were able to get in because there wasn't the congestion. It was just the people on Verizon who couldn't, because 90% of the people there were on Verizon. So they all tried to get in at once and couldn't. And it's become one of those good old finger pointy sessions where Verizon are going, well, everyone else all over the country could get into what they were trying to do. So it's not us. And Niantic going, well, everyone who wasn't on Verizon was able to get into Pokemon Go. So it's not us. So yeah, that's one of those things. Like, I don't think anyone knows at this stage who the blame was. Obviously, that half an hour bug where people couldn't log in, that was them, but it sounds like they fixed that really quickly. And after that, it was an issue that currently can't be identified whether it was Niantic or Verizon. So suing Niantic before answers are given seems a bit stupid to me, because it might have been Verizon.
Agreed.
That's interesting. Yeah, with that further information, I would change my tune on that. Half an hour is, if it's a bug that was fixed in a half an hour or even an hour or a couple hours, that's fine. I mean, that's not a big deal to me as long as it was sorted. But yeah, if the telecommunications guys weren't able to promise what you're paying for, sort of thing, the onus might be on them, really.
Yeah, agreed. Well, there you go. Interesting times in the world of Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a still relevant thing. I thought it was a been and gone sort of fad, but apparently it's still knocking around. People still play Pokemon Go, even though it drains the shit out of your battery and data, both simultaneously.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on to the final section of the show, which is our discussion. Now, Balthazar, I think you helmed this one as well. You wanted to talk about when is not enough content to warrant a trailer. So essentially, how much stuff do we need to bring something to light, to bring something to the public eye? When does it become frivolous, essentially?
Yeah. So I'm just seeing a rise in, game trailers on YouTube that it's not like they're not advertising anything. So on Friday, I watched a few at work and saw things. Basically, patches seem to be getting trailers now. And it's just a bit ridiculous. Like, I think it's Warframe that had one most recently that actually got me to pop that in our docs. I watched it and I was like, what? Like, what? You're just advertising a free-to-play game that's always free-to-play is still free-to-play, but you've put out a trailer for a patch which doesn't even have a release date or notes about what's being included in the patch, just the name of the patch, and that's a minute trailer. with a red background and a creepy voice talking, and then the name of the patch appears in the screen. Like, that's not what. Like, there's a lot of that at the moment, and some of it is like, I guess why I want to know when it's acceptable is because essentially that's exactly what Metroid Prime 4 was.
Yes,
in the
true.
Nintendo thing. Like, it was literally a bit of music and a title came onto the screen. The exact same thing could have been done if someone just said, oh, we're also working on Metroid Prime 4. It would have technically had the exact same effect. So when, like, should that have existed as a trailer at that show as well? Or should it have just been, you know, in the show notes that Metroid Prime 4 is also being worked on? Like, why do we have such an obsession, and we here just being the internet, with getting a video for everything? Like, a lot of the time it's completely irrelevant, and it takes longer to watch a 30-second video than read 2 words, patch incoming or whatever, you know? Like, it's why are there trailers for everything? Should we continue with trailers for everything, or should we actually dial it back a bit? Because a lot of trailers coming out don't seem like they actually have any content in them that warrants having a trailer.
Yeah, I would draw attention to another trailer that's come out recently for 2, which has added in quite a bit of content, and that's essentially a patch. But it also seems like
Sorry, what game was it at?
Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2, right, yep.
Yeah, so they're still updating that, you know, everything's free, as per Respawn being good guys. But the trailer they put out actually has quite a lot of stuff. So there's maps added, and there's game modes, and there's all sorts of new nonsense. But it seems like, you know, that's something that could just be patch notes. Like,
yeah, patch notes with screenshots if you want to show the new maps. Just you know, show an overhead shot of the layout, or a, you know, isometric shot. I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
I think it's the part of it is that companies employ marketers, and marketers need to find things to do with their time. And so that's kind of, they know that it's essentially the internet is video these days, and for a lot of people is YouTube, and, you know, that kind of particular sort of content, and they know that it's engaging. And so I think it could be you could look at it as simple as that, is, you know, it's a medium that people are using, and that's kind of the best way to communicate new things to them. But I agree, like, I think they run the risk of destroying the impact of that medium if they're going overboard and they're putting too much crap into these trailers. Like, I watched one yesterday on Gran Turismo Sport, and all it was honestly 15 seconds of just cars driving down a straight track. That was it. There was nothing special about it or anything like that. There was no information about, like, you know, the different types of products, because there's the normal version of it, there's a, you know, pre-order version and a collector's version, all that kind of stuff. There was nothing like that. It was just that's all it was. And I sort of thought to myself, I know nothing. I already knew the game was coming out. I know nothing. So I think I mean, it is what it is. They're doing it because it's effective, but they're going to lose their effectiveness if they aren't clever about it, I suppose. Yeah, I'm not too sure, because at the same time, I'm just thinking about when that Metroid trailer came out, and I have no affinity toward Metroid. It seems cool. I'd like to get into it, but I think I played part of one at one point, one of the side-scrolling ones back on SNES. But I was excited when because I know all the background about people wanting another Metroid Prime game, and you know, since GameCube or whenever that one came out. And I was excited when that Metroid thing just came out, because I know that everyone else was going to be excited. So I guess it was that vicarious thing again. It was me being like hyped for others, in a way. And if they had just put that out in show notes or whatever, definitely not the same amount of hype would have come from that. It was just it was with Nintendo's what are they called, Treehouse or Direct or whatever they did. So it was sort of you know, pre-done and all that sort of stuff baked in. But yeah, I don't know. Announcements like that, logo announcements.
I think PlayStation are very guilty of it. So the main thing I see is always on the PlayStation YouTube channel. Yeah, because I'm subscribed to it when events like E3 happen, so I see all the trailers without having to go look for them. And so I've just taken a quick look now in my feed, and these are the 3 most recent videos put out by PlayStation. Firstly, a 30-second video which says The Sims 4 now on PS4. That's it. That's the whole thing. No new content or anything that didn't already exist. That's just, you know, that's just a release date. That doesn't need a video.
Yep.
The next one, a minute and a half Need for Speed Payback customization trailer. It's basically a minute and a half of cars driving around a circuit while it says, we've brought back the customization aspect from previous Need for Speed games. Okay. I assume that people who probably played these games thought that was a given already, because what the fuck car driving game doesn't have customization in 2017? That's utterly ludicrous.
Yeah.
You don't need a trailer for that. And the third one here, I'm really disappointed to say, because this, like, such a good game. Why this? Horizon Zero Dawn patch 1.3 trailer. Now, the first 20 seconds are the teen rating only on PlayStation and then Guerrilla Games. 10 seconds into this 50-second trailer, it pops up Horizon Zero Dawn patch 1.3 and has Aloy standing on a rock. Then writing New Game Plus comes up. Then writing Enhanced Weapons and Outfits comes up. We're now 20 seconds in. Aloy standing on a different rock. And writing has come up saying unlockable content and 2 new trophies. Now 30 seconds in, she's rolling under a robot, all new difficulty level. 40 seconds in, another rock, including more aggressive machine behavior. And now the last 20 seconds of the video, a black screen saying update available now.
Yeah,
20 seconds of a video, just black screen with white text on it saying update available now.
Not gonna lie, I want to go play some Horizon Zero Dawn now.
This is the most non-trailer I've ever seen, ever. And it pains me that Horizon did this. It's like 2 shots of Aloy on a rock while it says new trophies, new collectibles out now.
Oh man,
Maybe
it really brings it to light when you get all analytical and break it down like that.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
I had to, because this is the worst one I've ever seen. And it's funny, I just quickly went to my feed now to be like, do I have any examples? Yes, I have the worst example there is. And it's for one of the best games of this year. So yeah, I think my answer to my question is yes. There's definitely instances where trailers should not be made. There is such a thing as not enough content to make a trailer for.
Yeah,
Fair point.
Or a slight rebuttal, and this kind of brings in movies as well. In that, you guys know how much I hate trailers, movie trailers, particular, and I just don't watch them if they're over 30 seconds. I love a good mood piece, and if they can accomplish a good mood piece, say like an announcement trailer or something like that, in 30 seconds or less, or maybe even getting up to a minute, without spoiling too much, I'm all for that, because I think that's better than showing a shit ton of plot points that you're just going to play through or see anyway. So yeah, I think there is value in stuff that shows very little, but depends which medium and how you go about it as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, that's the end of another OCG show for another fortnight. Thank you very much for tuning in as per usual. We can be found on overcastgamer.com. We're on all your favorite RSS podcast. Whatchamacall them? The assimilate? No, that's not the word. I can't remember. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube. We're on pretty much everything under the sun. Aggregators. That's the word I was trying to think of.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Yep. Any parting words, fellas?
Once again, go forth in game.
Nice.
Try and get out and get some sun too. That's important.
That is important. Yeah. Don't become translucent like all of us.
Go watch the 50-second Horizon Zero Dawn trailer.
Encouraging people to get views. They'll just keep doing it.
Yeah. And then I can keep complaining about it.
Nice.
If they stop, what do I complain about?
All right. And my final words, fuck, it's Monday tomorrow. That sucks. Have a good rest of your weekend, everyone, or Tuesday, whatever. We'll put this out anyway. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Ka kite anō.